Prayer. Communion with the Spirit, meditation or contemplation, is for the purpose of unifying our minds with the universal mind, opening up the avenues of our thought to a greater influx. Yes?
So that's all we're doing in treatment is we're unifying ourselves with the universal mind. And like I said, our individualization is our use of the universal mind. So that's what we mean when we say we're open at the top, by the way, that we're open always to greater influx. Always, always, always to greater influx. That there's always more to know. There's always more to be. There's always more to be. Into body of this energy. And it can never be exhausted. And we're constantly becoming.
So the next line says it all. Spirit is ever ready, ever waiting, because it is its nature to incarnate. So it's nature to come through us.
What does that mean?
It's their waiting, like pay it, like look, I'm here, you know. And for me, it's like I realize, you know, what my ultimate goal is to remember to go inside instead of outside for answers. Like, oh boy.
You do it every time you sing.
So back to the law is waiting. You go, well, what? Because it's a faithful servant of ours. So what it's saying is we're going, I mean, that's why when I hear I'm waiting for guidance from Spirit, actually Spirit is waiting for us. And that's the beauty of it. It's saying, I'm the all that is all. You never have to wait for anything, ever. Yeah, go ahead. What is it that you want? And then I hear, I'm going to wait for Spirit to tell me what to do. And that is, once again, us, because we're raised in a human experience to be told what to do. You're going to think these thoughts, and that's the other thing about science of mind. We don't teach you what to think, we teach you how to think. I remember hearing that the first day that I walked into a Science of Mind center, and I thought, what are they really saying? He goes, we're not here to teach you what to think. We're here to assist you and help you on how to think, and what does that mean? How to think in a way that benefits and serves you and remembers who you are, who I am. That's exciting. That means I don't really have to wait anymore. It's waiting upon me to believe in myself, to know I'm enough, to, like the little boy, to know that I'm lovable enough to say I'm not waiting anymore. It's all mine right here and right now. Yeah. Okay, I need
Ask away.
It's kind of like, okay, so like, all right, so it's waiting there. It's there.
It's
So
here.
what if,
It's
exactly,
here.
it's
not
there,
out
but it's
anywhere.
like,
well, it's all
for
around
whatever
us.
reason we have, maybe the opening we have is like this big. So it can only go through that little opening. How do you open more? How do you, like, just become...
that opening's that big because you made it that big.
No, I know, but
Right.
how do you, like...
You just keep surrendering to
bigger?
it. You keep surrendering to it.
You blast it open,
You
as
blast
somebody
it open,
said
just
to me the other
asking
day.
for more. Just say more,
Blast
more, more.
it open. Yes?
What I find with myself, we all put limits on it because our finite mind puts limits on it, but there is no limit. So I think we are learning to open more. We're constantly learning to open more, and then we fall back sometimes, and then we open more, and then each time we open more, we go a little step further, and a little step, maybe come back, but then we go 3 steps further. Do you know what I'm saying? But it doesn't have to be exhausting if we can surrender to it. Like just this week.
It's only exhausting because we won't open up the portal. I mean,
This week, like I was like all into the money thing because I'm doing the books, you know, for the church and stuff, and I'm like, okay. And then I just went back to this thing that I always say, money comes from everywhere. It comes from anywhere. And then within 2 days, 2 things happened that came from anywhere. But I opened up to it, like I relaxed, like I just went, okay, I'm just giving up to it. I know I'm safe. I know the center's always safe. The center always has all that it requires, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm telling you, it came from nowhere, like it dropped out of the blue sky. What? No, it came from somewhere, but not where I expected it. So our good can come from anywhere. It can come from anywhere if we open up. If we open up, surrender.
Oh, one of the things was, it kind of reminds me of what Tony Robbins was saying about standards. He says standards is like a thermostat, to where if you once you set a standard, so let's say the thermostat is set at 70 degrees, and you can open up that consciousness, right? You can open up your thoughts and your beliefs in that consciousness, and it'll get up to 80. But your standards are at 70, so you're going to self-sabotage yourself, and you're going to go back to 70. Or if you get too low and you like really get below your standards, or you really have some like those beliefs that are way against what you truly like, who you truly are and what you value, your principles, then it's going to set itself back up, and you're not going to settle for that anymore, and you're going to get back to where you're comfortable and what you truly believe. So it's just about, like you said, opening up our consciousness and our horizons for ourselves, and changing those beliefs, and being daring enough to change those beliefs, even though the fear is there, the fear of what if it doesn't happen, and what if I'm not enough for this, or what if I can't do that, or this, that, and the other, and all these fears are there. And then, of course, the reality is there as well. The reality of it's a process. So at first, I might not be the best at it, or it might not come right away as right when I want it to, but it's that seed, and seeds don't grow like that. You just don't put water and put it under the sun. It's not going to grow in a day. It takes its time. So it's the process of trusting yourself and practicing, of always cultivating those thoughts and putting it in the soul, so then it can manifest into our reality.
Very good.
Let's address for just a second.
Reverend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Reverend Charles.
Thank you, Reverend Jock.
No, that was great. That was great.
You're gonna have to live with that thing for about a week or so. But I want to talk about, just for 1 second here, well, maybe 5, this idea of exhaustion, because we see it in your faces, and we see it in your being and your lovely, wonderful selves. And that's really okay about the exhaustion, but we're exhausted because we're trying to do it, and we haven't let go enough yet to say, and I hate to be the bearer of good news and bad news all at the same time, but it's not going to get easier if we have decided to struggle with it. And so you go, well, I can't help that right now, but that's okay then. Then you can't help it right now in that moment. Does that make sense? Because you're doing a lot of thinking, and it's staying right up here, and it's like your brain wants to go, because you've been taught a different thing. But I'm going to say it, and I've said it a million times. When you stop arguing for your limitations and trying to prove damn well that they're there, Patrick, no matter what you say. I get what you say on a certain level, on a certain energy level, but there's still that one thing that is the struggle, that is whatever that you've decided that it is.
Exercise to just work on one thing, so what you were just talking about, that we're arguing for our limitations, it's hard for us to sort of get our minds wrapped around, like, really surrendering or whatever. And is there any way we could work on that, like take 10 minutes or something?
Yeah, well, we can. I want everybody not I want to go here, because we always have a lot of material, and I agree with you, and we will devise an exercise for all of you. Not tonight, but next week.
We'll also call you on it when you're doing it.
Right. But I understand what you're saying. But
or when I'm doing it, or whatever. Because we do argue for our limitations, because we're trying to figure out, instead of looking for how it's going to work and we're going to go home and we're going to work it, we're looking for all the reasons why it might not work. That's arguing for your limitations. Does that make sense? We will.
Yeah. We will. Absolutely. I'm for that. Just 1 second. I want to finish this thought. Because it's really important. It's the one that comes up the most, just like the seed that gets planted the most, and it comes up. I have to love myself enough to give myself this gift that we have been given. You say, well, I'm arguing from and it's so simple. You go, oh, wow, I'm arguing from my limitation right now. And we wonder why we do. That was, if you wonder what I wake up with myself, Rita and I were in a situation, I said, of something that, problem solving, let's call it that. It's such a horrid word, but nothing else came at that moment. But I had a click. And I'll tell you what a click is for me. The click is, oh shit, I'm going to be okay, man. I remembered who I was. And let me tell you, for weeks now, I have not remembered that fully. And it clicked. And then Rita said, yeah, we're waiting for a click, and we talked about the click. She goes, well, I'm waiting for my click. And I said, well, your click is, I said, you know what, because this is what we want. We want to take care of that and fix all of that and call that a click. This is what the click is for me. No matter what you put in front of me, no matter what comes to me in my experience, I can handle it. I can handle it. And that's what clicked for me. No matter what is said to me, no matter what is, oh my God, I remembered. And let me tell you something, it didn't feel like, oh, I solved the problem. The problem, the situation, the condition is and was still there. But guess what happened? I wasn't. I clicked. And I'm thinking, why can't I just click? Because what happened for me was I stopped for a moment and surrendered, as we talked about last week. I surrendered and said, not surrendered like, whatever happens, it's okay, take me. I'm, and which I've done before in my dramatic way. No, this was like, I surrender and I can handle it. And why can I handle it? Because everything I need is right here. And I never needed anything outside of there to do that for me. And then my world looked different. And I started walking around going, and then the thought came, oh, you like that, Patrick? Feeling pretty good, right? Wait till the other shoe drops, babe. I have that voice that talks to me like that. Babe. No, but it's that idea. Okay, what happens? And then you're walking around going, well, what happens if it, what'd you say? Foreboding joy. Oh my God, I got the click. I feel it. Oh yeah, but how long is it going to last, man? And then these are the thoughts. They have personalities, man. They have voices. I do them well. And so what I'm saying is the click is this. I'm sick and tired. Sometimes it gets to this. I'm sick and tired of being tired. I'm sick and tired of being tired. And guess what? The bugles don't necessarily blow. Parades don't come out. I don't get applauses. Patrick had a click. But it's peaceful and it's secure and it's loving and it's safe. It's safe, Lori. It's sound. It's all of that.
It's your relationship to the situation that changes. That's what you're saying. Yeah. Nothing in the situation changes, but your relationship to it changes, and therefore you start to think from a higher place, and therefore the situation has to change in some way, has to change, because it's no longer threatening to you, even if it's a health issue or a money issue or whatever it is, you've surrendered and you've remembered who you are, and then you know that anything that would come in front of you, you would know the answer, you would know what to do because you remembered who you are. That's why remembering who you are is the most important thing.
Just real quick, I hope this helps. I can only share from my experience because I hear what you're saying. I've been at that battle, driving myself nuts over it. And I got tired of creating what I didn't want to create, recognizing if I continue to think like this, I'm going to sabotage my own creations. And I said, that's not happening anymore. I've done enough of that. When I went through GA and I was asked, why am I here? I said, because for 50 some years, I was the captain of my ship and I kept running it aground. When I sat with Patrick and he said, it comes from here out, not from here down. I can't intellectualize it. when I do, that's that narrow you're talking about. Nothing can come through it because it's coming the wrong way. And I didn't realize that until I was sitting down in this panic this past week over my beliefs, seeing the destruction of those beliefs and saying, and that's where the conviction came. It really was a fire that got lit in me that said, no more. And I meant it. Therefore, practice, practice, practice. I heard Rita. Practice. What am I practicing? What do I believe? I believe that I am. I believe that I am love. I believe that I believe that I can have. I believe my creation was pure, and it will manifest. How's that going to happen? From within. Where are my thoughts? Where are my beliefs? I wrote down what they do. I know what they are. I see the beast for what it is. Now I have to be aware and practice consciously of what do I believe. I believe in this. And when that's when the shift occurred. The surrender. The surrender was, I'm not living like that anymore. I trust in these things. I have no fear. I have no doubt. And watch when fear and doubt comes in. And give it back where it never came from. That nothingness. It doesn't exist. It's not reality. Only in if I let it. And I did get tired. And I said that because it was a constant watching this struggle back and forth of old beliefs. They're gone. They got to go. I am going to manifest this truth. And that's what I operate from every moment here. And anything that comes has to go.
That's practice.
And that's when I start feeling what he was. And that's the only thing I can tell you. That's what changed when he told me, this is where you have to go and it has to come from here out. That is the spirit waiting to manifest. It will come out. It will manifest. That light will shine. You'll see it. People will see it. We'll create. And that's when the visions start coming. That's when my creative mind started to open up of that inner child. What do I want to, what do I enjoy? Man, all kinds of thoughts start coming. And I was like, wow. And then I saw what love is. Then I saw, but try not to yell in this thing because it's really, but then I saw what love really is. Because I saw the visions of how that stuff manifests. And it doesn't judge. It doesn't have these, I'm doing that in this craziness. But if I let go, there is no effort. There is no effort. It just does. Like you said, the sacred yes. I just think, and it does.
So can I just interject one thing? What I see from what you're saying, though, and this is where we have to make the decision. We have to make the decision that this is as important to us that we'll put that kind of work into it, right? It was a decision. It was a decision where you said enough is enough. That's a decision.
And when it returns, if it does,
You've made a decision.
this is the other part of it. So then you have the power of the preacher, right? You know it, and it's fierce, and it's wonderful. But then you go, but then what'll happen is then what do? Then you walk in and there's a doctor trying to mess with your mind, and all of a sudden you go, I was riding high until you walked in the door. Why did that happen? So then what you have to do, for me, what I do, is then I have to return. Go, oh boy, I love this testing shit. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. I'm going back now. What was the same energy that got me to have that point of enough is enough? Oh, click. But you got to take the time to step away, say, you go, no, I got things to do. No, you don't have anything to do. Go to the bathroom, go to a stall, sit in it, and go back and say, no, I'm not going back out there until I remember who I am. Yeah, but I got to, in the car, I don't care. I told you, I've done it before. I've walked out and went into the bathroom, and it's noisy in there too because they have that fan blowing so high. And I'm sitting there going, I'm not moving out until Joe Dispenza says it. I'm sitting right here. And I'm going to breathe this until I have to do it. You say, well, it could take hours. Well, it's going to take even more hours for you to get out of the funk that you're going to be in if you don't get rid of the stuff that is holding you back. And all through it, you just go, I love you, you crazy, arguing for your limitation kind of guy. I love you. I love you. Jock? Yes.
So, yeah.
It's just for me. It's not reacting and coming from. I have to keep practicing coming from loving, kinding, and not defensive way. So that's it. All ties in.
It
just-
certainly does.
Just think
Responder,
of it. If somebody,
responder.
Joe Dispenza, every talk I hear lately from him, and his newer ones, he's always saying, I had to go back in. Every day I have to go back in and I have to. So if he has to do it, and he's doing this for, a living basically, and it never ends. I don't think it ever ends. I think that the more we grow, then there's another like a peak to go over. And, but it can be joyful. It can be, spiritual practice is joyful. It's like,
be.
wow.
Can
And
be.
each time we go over that peak, we celebrate. We celebrate the win of going over that peak. And, but it does take a decision. That's what I was noticing when Ray was talking, is that he made a definite decision. There's a meditation by Joe Dispenza, the changing beliefs meditation. I purchased it. I don't know if it's available for free, but, where he says, now I want you to make a irrevocable decision and bring your whole being to that decision, that you're going to move into this new state of consciousness and that nothing can turn you back from it. And you might have to do it 100 times before, but don't forget what we're doing. We're dealing with something that is receiving the impress of our thoughts, and we're rewiring. We're rewiring our old beliefs. We're pulling them apart and connecting them to another part of our brain. So,
And Melinda, you
Yeah.
mentioned the reaction thing. That's a biggie, guys. That's a biggie. I mean, I'm more
We have
attached to
to
it because
take a
I
break.
understand that. I understand that.
because of the video,
And
we have
so-
to take a break.
Okay, but I'm just going to finish up with the reaction thing. But also, what I was doing sometimes, why do I react? But yet I was still doing it and still responding and still going back, instead of saying, I need to talk to you for a moment, Patrick. What is behind the reaction? What we talked about earlier. What are you really saying? I'm tired and I've worked this and got to the truth. What's behind the reaction? I'm scared and I feel like I have to defend myself. I'm scared. And so that's why I'm reacting. And then you go, oh, baby, I know. You're scared. Do you feel the power in that? You're scared, baby. Come here. Because what we're doing is, I'm not scared. Watch me react to you. And there's something inside of us that needs to be heard, that needs to be loved, that needs to say, you know what? You don't have to react, baby. You're safe. I got your click right now. I got your click. Yeah, but no. What you can do is, and let's respond.
And let's take a break, because
How perfect that was. Thank you. She responded beautifully. She corresponded beautifully. These crazy couples.
about. And like I said, the best exercise you can do is go home and use it, right? There's so many opportunities to practice it. I have opportunities every day. I mean, I wouldn't even know how I'd get through my day if it wasn't for this. Sometimes I'm like, wow.
You guys have a lot of clout around Kauai.
We do?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just ran into a lady at the memorial service, Tracy, that interviewed you guys.
Oh,
Oh,
Tracy,
yeah.
yeah.
Tracy's cool, clout. And then
The cloud. I don't like to think of it as cloud.
I like
She
to
does.
think of it as
she,
clout.
She is. She helped us get the kids out. Their
What
words
the
out.
hell's you doing?
And then this guy named Joshua, he fixes laptops. He said he's talked to you guys for his as well. Joshua, he works over Willie to fix his laptops.
You see, we have clout.
Okay, we're not going to answer. We're not going to do this question
Thank
because
you,
we
Charles.
actually basically just did this. But I'm just going to read it, just so we
Job
can
to
just
you.
put it in because I think Ray answered this question already. We are intelligent beings living in an intelligent universe which responds to our mental states, and insofar as we learn to control these mental states, we shall automatically control our environment. This is what is meant by the practical application of the principles of science of mind to the problems of everyday living. This is what is meant by demonstration. So this is it, guys. We just talked about it. We just talked about it ad nauseum. No, I'm only kidding. But I think you
Nauseam.
get it. So, okay. A law of mind in action is from How to Use the Science of Mind. All declarations, all affirmations, all denials, all statements made in a treatment are for the sole purpose of clarifying the consciousness of the one giving it. Don't forget, we only treat in our own minds. What the law of mind knows in one place, it knows simultaneously and instantly everywhere. So when we give a treatment for ourselves, that's why it demonstrates, because it's going out and that's attracting everything back to us. So, and when we're giving it for someone else, the same thing. It is equally distributed and everywhere present, and its manifestation appears at the point of our direction. That's how powerful we are. Does that make sense? So we always tell our practitioners that we treat in our own minds.
Right.
And Patrick wanted to
I want to talk about denials. Yeah, I bet she did. So the minute it went on, I told her, I said, they will have questions about denial. We don't.
We don't usually use denials.
But there sometimes when you're really in that confused state of
If you go into the
sometimes
courtroom.
a good denial is nice, because what you're basically saying is, I know that any doubt, any fear, any dis-ease that is even near my sphere, my quantum field right now is gone to its native nothingness. Get out, basically, is what you're saying. You're denying it. But what you bring back in, you never leave a denial just because get all caught up in the condition. Then you back that the minute, and what replaces it is perfect health, vibrancy, and you go on and you're building up that energy level. Does that make sense? But a lot of people, I know that when I'm in a session, and sometimes people want to hear that it's being dispelled, that it's out, that whatever dis-ease has entered in has now been spotted, and there's a spotlight upon it. And it is now seen for its nothingness that it is, and it is gone. The light has taken away. So therefore, they're going, oh, that's because some people want to kind of have the visual.
Yeah,
of the,
denial is just bringing the condition into your treatment and then dispelling it, like you said, and then bringing it back to realization.
always the realization has to come back, though. You
Yeah.
never want to leave it where you're focused only on that.
So,
Jock?
This is good. The law knows doesn't know negatives. Yes, the law doesn't.
Doesn't have a differentiation.
Right. So if you mention that in your treatment without saying going back, then you're attracting that to you. Yeah.
Well, and in life, when you're saying, I'm so tired of her, and why is that happening, and why is this, and you get the story gets even bigger, then right now the law of our being, the soul, is now saying, not, oh, look what they're saying, but now saying, oh, that has energy, that has more of that creative medium, more of what you're denying.
Yeah, because you're making it real to yourself by saying it. But sometimes people need to hear it. I mean, you just like, I call it like a courtroom. Like you bring it in, and then you dispel it, and you bring it in. You go, but no, confusion cannot, can't live in a divine mind, because the divine mind is always at peace. Blah blah blah. And then you just go back. Yeah, yeah.
That, really fast. What I was thinking of is I like the phrase "the impress of our thoughts," because it's not just a random thought. Like if you think about impress in like maybe like a printing press sort of motion, you're really pushing for that thing. And if it's I don't have any money, I hate my job, well, you're not going to have any money, you ain't going to have a job you love. So I'm impressing it.
It's not just a random, like you said, thought. Like someone said, well, obviously everything we think does not manifest, thank God, because we would be like, wow.
Yeah, I've actually been practicing this lately, maybe the last few months, and Abraham calls it segment intending. And what it is, you make a declaration or an affirmation every time something changes. Well, I don't do that very often because I have a hard time remembering it. But when I'm in the car and I know that I'm going to go driving, and it's like, oh, I notice on the GPS that there's a backlog on the bypass. And so I'll get in the car, and my segment intending is making an affirmation and a declaration that I'm going to have an easy, prosperous, fun drive. And I get to the bypass, and there's no backlog. That happens like every time I make that declaration affirmation, almost every time that works.
It's good.
And what's beautiful about that is it reroutes you. When you
It's
go
just
off
rewiring.
course and you go, oh, I went over there, you just have to it knows, and when you say, oh, that wasn't my intention, wow, and then it goes back into the quickest. And I love that GPS is a good metaphor, because the law will go the quickest, easiest, fastest way to get you to whatever it is that you believe that you want, that you desire, you're manifesting. Are we still? Oh, yeah. The practitioner theoretically resolves things into thoughts and works in the realm of the mind only, with no sense of personal responsibility, because the law is the doer. This is a big one for all of us practitioners in life, is to things and thoughts and works in the realm of the mind only, that we've been talking about that. The mind only, not our mind, which is the same mind, but I'm talking about the mind, the field, with no sense of personal responsibility. That's when we get into what I call trouble, when we don't see our demonstrations. And then we start to think that, there it is. I'm responsible for that. It's the same way that we talk about creating our own reality. And someone says, yeah, but I put that in front of me. Yeah, you're in that field with the other person, but I'm not taking responsibility for your manifestation of where, but I am taking full responsibility of where I'm at in this dance. But I have a feeling when we think of demonstrating, and we go, why did I create this? And I'm responsible for what they said to me, and everybody's and everything in the school, and but no, you're responsible for what? What you decide to think about it. That's my
You're
reaction.
not responsible. If you're praying for somebody else and they're not demonstrating, you're not responsible for that. You're not responsible for somebody else's demonstration. You're only responsible for your own thoughts about it. Like what you're projecting, like what you're stating about that person. Okay, so and so is perfect health, blah 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 blah. It's the belief of the practitioner and the receptivity of the client. But sometimes we get caught, like we think, or we get caught in the fact that they're not demonstrating. Then we have to go back to our own minds and remove our doubt, right? And stop trying to make them demonstrate and just get back to our own thought about it. Like, what do we think? We see them as perfect. We see them as a whole. We know they're whole, perfect, complete. and that's all we just keep doing.
And not yeah, jumping in. So when we say that there's not demonstrating, where do we go? Oh, it's not demonstrating? No, we go to just exactly what Rita said. Our best example is when we were new as practitioners, and we were like beating this. We've told this story before. Beating this poor woman. She had cancer, and she was, and it was kind of our first.
We thought we
you
could
know,
heal her.
He says, Dr. James said, I'm going to put you and Rita because you're powerful practitioners already, and you go over to her, and we're like, yeah, we're going in, man. And so, we're in there going, watch this treatment. Whoa. And then all of a sudden she's going, yes, I understand. And basically what she was doing, she was bullshitting us. Because she was giving
really
us what
wanna
we
heal.
thought. She was going, oh, that's wonderful. You guys are really good. And the whole time, and I'm thinking, I know, thanks. I got spirit. I got to, and then she dies. And I'm like, what the? I failed. We failed. Until, it was brought to, to the light. That wasn't
was
your
ready
job,
to go.
Superman.
It wasn't it wasn't our job. Our only job was to see her as perfect health because
And we did.
spirit is always perfect.
Right.
But not to make her live. That's not our responsibility.
So I think it was Dr. James. He went over to her after we had, we're sweating. You're not supposed to sweat when you're doing practitioner work.
He's like
You're
making.
I'm making it up. I am making it up. But I'm saying you're not supposed to go, live. But what he did was he came up and he said, and then he came up to us, he goes, oh yeah, I went over to her today. And I said, how's she doing? She said, oh, she told me she didn't want to live. She's ready to go. And I'm like, really?
That was because we weren't really listening.
Uh-huh.
You have to really listen.
If we had
to
been
someone.
listening, we would have heard that she was saying, I'm pretty much done. Thank you for being, we would have heard her. But I was too busy fixing her and raising her out of the bed to take the time to listen. You guys are all safe. I'm not in that place anymore. I listen and know. Yeah. Yes.
I was going to say, couldn't you see that as instead of saying you failed, a success that whatever time she was still here was a positive, a better experience for her because of that? And
But
the goal was not to keep her here, right?
But we didn't know that because we were young, and we were young, not in age. but-
Coming from healing. So people think healing is fixing and doing all that stuff, when in reality, healing is allowing the self to come to the self. And so sometimes, why is it? We just watched that great movie with the Buddha, My Incarnation. And I loved his healing process because he said he got cancer and everybody was like, oh my God, this great master that gives us advice, and we sit at his feet and we do all this stuff. And then he gets sick. And then the way he healed, he ended up healing because he was going, oh yeah, I'm dying. And then, he was buying into the medical thing. And all of a sudden he started to get better. And you know what the turnaround was? He just said, oh, I stopped thinking of dying. And I started thinking about living. And he got well. Wasn't a sign of cancer left in the guy's body. And all of a sudden he's back on the road again as the master, running around. So where are we focusing on? Are we focusing on living? Are we focusing on what it is that brings us joy? Or are we focusing on the problem or the challenge, whatever you want to call it?
So there was another chapter that we read called Functions of Faith. Nothing happens by chance in the universe. Everything is in accord with law. Faith is law and acts as such. The law of faith is a law of belief, a belief so complete that the mind no longer rejects it. That's the click. That's the click. This belief must be subjective as well as objective. In other words, it has to be conscious as well as sink into the soul and be accepted there. And it must penetrate our inner consciousness. Faith is a mental attitude toward life that can be cultivated. I just put that because it's important to know that it can be cultivated, that it is, you don't always have full-blown faith, right away, but you can cultivate it. And it's guaranteed if you work on your faith. How do you work on your faith? Any thoughts? Practice.
Practice. Practice seems to be the big word for the evening.
I think so. You stop looking at the appearances and keep going within.
I looked up faith in the dictionary. So it means loyalty, fidelity to a promise, sincerity of intentions, belief and trust without question.
It's embodiment. It's an energy. It's an actual energy.
There's actually studies
the-
done that if you deeply believe this, you can change your cells in your body and start to heal. I mean, it's just science and truth. It's just hard getting to that point of really believing. You can say you would believe, but
Right.
that's
Well,
the
But the
whole
good,
practice.
isn't it good to know you can cultivate it
Yeah.
and you can keep working on it? And I think it's too. It's stop looking at the outside. Stop looking at the outside what's wrong or whatever, and keep going back within and cultivating that faith, praying, treating, meditating, coming to that place where you can feel the presence of power of spirit. You know, all of these things.
Well, I'm just looking at this picture where you say that, you know, it's possible. But what I'm saying is I'm possible.
Right.
Like,
I love
yeah,
that picture.
I love that.
So I think it's just important to know you can cultivate it, so
Just
you
as
don't
is-
feel like a failure because you don't have it the first time you did it.
I suffered from severe nerve headaches for almost 3 years. And they as things evolved with Dirk and his sickness, the condition got worse and worse and worse. They became almost frequent to where they were day and night. I made a trip and decompressed, and I had no headaches. When I went back to work, they came back. What I've discovered from coming to CSL and believing in these things, I don't need medicine. I don't need anything except a mind treatment. I gave myself the mind treatment, and I haven't had headaches since. These muscles in my shoulders haven't relaxed in 3 years. They're relaxed now. And all I did was said, yes, I can. Got rid of the condition that was causing the muscles to stay tense. Shifted my thinking. And the body responded. So you're right. I proved it.
You proved it, and you know we're not all at that place, and we do need medicine sometime, and that's okay. Like we
Yeah.
said last week, don't throw the props away that we need, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
And also, you don't have to go in and go, now I'm moving my liver to the left. And, you know, you're not the doctor. What you need to know is, you know, because I have people, and I'm not joking, that I can be in the middle of a treatment and somebody will tell me sometimes, you know, oh, don't forget the sutures, you know, that are on the left leg. And I'm going, I'm not going to do the sutures on your left leg. I'm a metaphysician. And so what we're knowing is that everything that needs to be aligned in your body knows how to do it much better than Patrick, who is a metaphysician, right? I mean, you don't want me operating on your body. But what you do is you want me operating on your ethereal body. So anyway, if I were just to let you know that women who have went through what I think it's called hot flashes, I understand you completely tonight, because I go from completely freezing to right now that I feel like I'm drenched in sweat, and I'm like going, this must be what they call a hot flash, because I keep going.
No. Well, you know that's an interesting tip. But I refuse to believe in menopause. I refuse to believe in it.
Well, I did till tonight.
I just refuse to believe in it. I just didn't buy into it. I just didn't. And I feel like I did great. I don't know.
Menopause.
If I
Okay.
had menopause, I don't even know if I did.
Okay,
Well,
anyway,
I
I'm
do
sorry
now.
to digress.
Anyway,
We have 26 slides left.
Okay. In such a degree as we re-educate our habitual thoughts, this sounds like Joe Dispenza. In such a degree as we re-educate our habitual thought patterns, they will automatically react in accord with a mechanical law, a law of reflection. So just remember, no matter how, and I think it said it somewhere in this reading, or maybe it was in the text in one of the daily readings, it doesn't matter what you thought up to this point. It doesn't matter. You can change the direction of causation
Absolutely.
by in a moment. That's what this whole teaching is about, new thought. It's about having a new thought. And there's nothing being held against you that, you know, you thought that way, so now, you know, you have to go through some whatever trial. You can just change it. So
It's like the GPS that we were just talking about, right? When you go, because I did it the other day, you make a left and it's like not the right way. The GPS doesn't go, loser, find your way out of this one. You know, but it's right. It doesn't say that. It just goes reroute. That's what Spirit is always doing to us. It says you can't go off, man. I'm going to reroute you anytime you want to, unless you're going to. Because what we did was, yeah, exactly. And we went to go up. I said, I'm going up Kauai, how to pick up this car, and we're going to go up there. And it was saying, no, intuition. GPS, no, that's totally out of the way because I know better than the GPS. It's right by the high school. What happened?
The worst traffic jam.
Worst traffic. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and then the GPS went, told you. No, I didn't.
Okay, so this is how you pray. You pray with authority. Patrick?
A prayer without conviction is simply a set of empty words. We all know that. Remember, creative law does not act on our words; it acts on our beliefs.
So how can you? Why can you pray with authority? Right, because you're coming from God. You're coming from Source. You better have authority.
That's the only reason why we can. Just to let that's the only reason why you have the audacity ever to say, "I am claiming peace of mind in my life." Yeah, and you think, well, that's very audacious. Well, the reason I can do that is because Patrick, the human experience of Patrick's personality is not what's making and allowing this to be. I'm intuiting that wonderful power that I already am, and then we're allowing that to go forth. That's why I can. And then if you don't want to get all too with the I am God thing and get everybody all uptight if they don't understand, you say, I do that because I work from a place of spirit. I work from a faith and a trust in this power that runs through me and as in everything. And of course that's why I can claim it. Of course I can. Or we would be what? Waiting for you to tell me I can have peace of mind. Waiting for you to tell me. Waiting for her doctor to tell her that she's okay until she says, no, I have providence over my own life. Rita.
Okay. So how do we pray? Pray in the present tense. I don't think we've ever covered that, but we never use future
But we
tense. If
will
we do,
next
it's a
week.
mistake. Because why wouldn't we use future tense? There is no, because it's already happened. The Spirit only is in the,
Right.
yeah. Right, and if you say future, then you're always going to be looking to a future, like it will happen. No, it's happening now. Your answer is here and now, praying now. It is the only time that exists. Expect the prayer answered now. Patrick?
Why is it difficult to expect? Well, if you're saying that you are working from that place of pure spirit, of pure power that created everything, why would you not expect it? But then if it doesn't arrive on your timetable, then all of a sudden you have to go in and treat again for doubt. And to release doubt and let trust come back in. So feel the prayer. What does your conviction feel like? Faith has a feeling tone. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Abundance has a feeling tone. Love has a feeling tone. Peace has a feeling tone. Feel your prayer. Keep feeling it. After the prayer is spoken, be your prayer. Live it. Like when I was talking to Ray outside, I created an atmosphere of a vibration, a frequency of the divine with no intention. I had no intention. I just created that energy, that field, and I said, "Oh my God, this is what it means." Now what do? I'm in this feeling tone, but I haven't set anything in motion, and I kind of like the feeling. I could have just like vibrated in that for a while, but that's what we're talking about. Now you say, "I am prosperous in everything I do." And you walk from that place, and everything that you start to look at, it becomes prosperous or healthy or whatever it is.
A sense of completion. When we pray for our own clarity to see the truth fully and clearly. We continue to pray until we feel a sense of completion. Yeah, so don't stop your treatment if you don't feel like it's like Dr. Joe's saying he doesn't leave the meditation until he changes his feeling that he's having at that point, right? His consciousness. So you just keep, like, it's like steps 1 and 2, you just keep going back until you feel it. Because if you go out of it without a sense of completion, you're not going to demonstrate. Pray until you know with absolute conviction it is done, complete, finished, and answered. Sometimes that takes time. Sometimes it does take arguing, like we were talking about denials. But don't leave the prayer until you feel it. Pray, listen, and give thanks. We must listen to our internal voice, the knower within, the voice of intuition that speaks to us and guides us. Listen with expectancy. Listen with expectancy that you're going to have an answer, that it is manifest. A gift of greater good can come from anywhere, at any time. Give thanks for the good in your life. Be a prayer of gratitude.
God, if you just followed those like
She all right?
6,
Who is that?
she just,
Peggy. She's got the end
She's
of
coughing.
that thing. She as well.
and then
She's getting rid of it all. It's all coming up. Coming up and moving out.
Just before, like, years back, before I started going to CSL in New York, I was going through a difficult time. And I remember I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm going to be thankful and grateful for everything. When I walk to Central Park, everything's going to be beautiful. And walking to Central Park, everything sucked. Like, I saw the worst stuff in the world. And then I was like, nothing's working. But then when I started coming to CSL and really believing it, then things started shifting. You just can't say it and
No.
it'll be.
Well,
So-
you also have to look for what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you're looking for what you got, even if you find the smallest thing, you got to look for it and give thanks for it, and recognize that that was an answer to your prayer.
and when you see the things you don't want to, which we've done before, it's exactly what you're talking about, so that you can say, see, I tried this for 5 minutes, and I'm going to tell you, I tried it. I went to Central Park and I saw nothing but crap. And so then it's right. So then you go, I told you, that arguing. I told you that limitation. Good. How we pray, don't be too specific. Don't be too specific in your prayer. Don't pray for 10,000. Pray for the infinite abundance to continue meeting your needs now and always. Do you see the difference? Pray to realize the full expression of the infinite good. Now, this can be a little bit tricky sometimes when you go, I just want to pay my rent. You go, I just want to pay my rent. And then that's your intention. But in reality, that's fine. And you'll pay your rent and it will manifest if we believe that it will. But this opens us up at the top when we don't get specific, like it has to be $10,000 or it has to be $3,400 and whatever it is, or it has to be the amount, of the rent here and that type of thing.
But it's also because you're not praying for things. You're praying for a change in consciousness. If you're praying for $10,000, that's a thing. You're praying for the consciousness of abundance, to change your consciousness to feel abundant and to know that you're always supplied and to know there's infinite good for you and blah, 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 blah.
But then some of us pray for a green 4-wheel drive Subaru, with 4 doors and less than 10,000 miles on it. That's really specific. I prayed for a Toyota Tacoma, but knowing there are many models and versions out there, the right one came along. I definitely wanted a blue one, and I got a white one, and that's fine. But my image, the picture I literally had on my computer was of a blue Tacoma, and so.
Why do you think it turned out white?
Because the universe didn't listen to my specificity; it listened to what my need was, my belief, and that I ultimately didn't care. But I mean, last week we were talking about a specific car in this group. And so that's where I guess it's my question. My confusion is,
It's because it's the belief. It's the consciousness of the car. The consciousness that I have perfect transportation. I'm always supplied. She had a belief that there was no car on the island, if you remember, that this car can come to me from anywhere. There's nothing wrong with being specific, but what is the belief behind her not having the car? That she thought there was no cars on the island, or that there was different things she said, that was the belief she had to go back to, not that I want the car.
We would have treated for if we'd been in a session would come. So is it okay to want the red Ferrari? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And and so what is the consciousness? What does it make you feel? All of that stuff. But if you're still in the feeling of that's a little too much, it was something I kind of dream of, or something would be nice. I mean, but you know what? A car half like that is pretty too. And then you end up with a red whatever, or, you know.
Well, the afternoon before my truck appeared on Craigslist, which is where manifestations do occur at times.
Yeah, we have
I don't know who Craig is, but whatever. I put a price limit on it, a maximum amount that I wanted to spend, and the truck showed up under that. So I was putting parameters on it, and it showed up.
Support it, then you have to know
Right.
I always have enough finances. The car is the perfect price for what I can pay. I mean, if you put a number on it or something, sometimes it could, maybe you're going to get one. Let's say the car was 10,000, and you say I can only spend $10,000, but maybe somebody's going to give you a car, right? So I'm always infinitely supplied. I always have the abundance that I need in every moment. I have all the affluence, all the abundance to buy, a vehicle, or the vehicle's mine right here and right now. So it's not, so you're not being so specific, because how did you know somebody couldn't walk up and give you a car?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why you have to stay open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a car and I can afford it, and I have a home and I can afford everything about that home, so.
And I think it is important to get clear about what we do want. I know when I was thinking about coming to the island, and if I could have a house, what would I want? And I was pretty specific, it needed to be dog friendly and have a room so my friends and family could come and stay with me at a garage. So I got pretty specific, but then I just let it go and said, I surrender to the highest and best for me if this is the right thing for me to do. And pretty much everything on that list.
So it's like,
Check out.
that's
So
why we
me
always,
getting clear.
we
what
always
I
say
want.
this or better, right? This or better, instead of, we can have a picture like, okay, $10,000, fine, but this or better. Maybe there's $1 million. Can I believe that? Can I believe that I'm the abundance of the universe, and that I'm always supplied and I'm infinitely supplied? So I think what it's saying is, don't be so, first of all, don't act like how it's going to happen. Don't try to figure out how it's going to happen for you, and don't try to figure out how much it is, and that specific that you're limiting the universe, because, right, so. All right, so this is a class exercise, so just tell us, what are the God qualities that you would include for each of the following cases? Someone having surgery.
Perfect
Perfect
health.
health. Right and perfect outcome. Right. Perfect wholeness. Perfect
Perfect-
surgery.
yeah,
Well, that God is
everyone
expressing through
involved
everybody
in it.
involved, through the medicines, through the surgery, through all of it. There is a power of presence, a spirit through it. Someone who is ill, similar. Perfect health, right? Okay. Weight loss. That's a good one, right?
What
Weight
would you
loss.
pray?
What
What
would you
pray? What? Balance.
Perfect balance, perfect health too, wholeness.
I was trying to lose weight for many years, and then I wanted to cure my diabetes. And in that process, guess what? I lost 20 pounds. And so I asked for being healthy. I wanted to be healthier.
Right.
And it came.
Right. I want to have the perfect body for me. I want my body to be healthy. Discipline.
You could
know,
pray
well,
for-
that's kind of getting into the hows.
Hows of it.
Or you
and,
know what I mean? Like how they're going to do it.
For me,
Well,
what I would, if I were in a session with myself, or with, an actual session, I would also pray for forgiveness. Forgiveness is a huge one in weight gain, and I call it forgiving the pounds away. Because sometimes what happens is we hold on to stuff, and it comes in the form of form. So I believe that a lot of times I've watched that in weight loss, forgiveness has taken place, and all the heaviness completely left.
Yeah, because
the
usually
body.
with weight, there is something behind it. But
Heaviness,
behind all
protection,
these things, there's
that
something.
you are always safe, because sometimes weight is can be a protection of self. Yeah.
So, and when you're doing this, like, it's just being really like general, like someone who's ill, you don't know what's behind all that.
Right,
So
exactly.
if it was you and you were praying for yourself because you were ill, you would know, like, within yourself what was the belief that needed to be changed. If it was weight loss, you would know, or you would go to a practitioner and you would dig into what the belief was. So it's kind of vague. So they're just asking for like
And you wouldn't be
generalities.
necessarily praying like, all mucus has now left the body. I mean, it knows what to do. Oh, and so it is. It's done. Okay, go ahead.
Paul thinks his friend took a project. Oh, loving relationship. I'm sorry.
Loving relationship. Amazing partner. Self-love.
Self-love is a big one because you can't have a relationship if you're not in love with yourself. What? Abundance of what?
Love.
Love. Yeah, and it comes from within, like you said. It comes from here. So self-awareness,
Yeah, but yeah.
acceptance,
Acceptance.
wholeness of the self. I think, feeling
Forgiveness.
whole and complete within oneself. Because when we feel whole and complete within oneself, and we feel loving toward oneself, then we manifest that out.
And,
Releasing
and
expectation.
worthy. That you are worthy. That you are lovable. Lovable, lovable, lovable. Okay, Paul, let's
Paul
talk about
thinks
Paul.
his friend took a project from him at work.
Oh, Paul.
Paul will pray for himself. What should he know and believe? Infinite abundance. There's always more ideas.
Uh-huh.
He can create. There's always an
There's
influx
always
of greater ideas.
self-worth, more ideas. Ideas are unlimited. There's more projects where that came from. That project does, and and it's
Perfect friendships.
relationships.
Oh, because it's his friend, right?
Right.
Because it's friend. Yeah.
And with Paul, what if you were thinking about it, is to forgiveness and to be happy and to find joy too, to find joy in this experience that his friend Paul, it is a friend. Clarity.
And nobody can ever take something from you.
No, not
because there's an
really.
infinite place within you that nothing can ever be taken. So, right? Gratitude.
Gratitude. Oh yeah. Nice. What did you say?
Fred has gained 50 pounds in the past. I love this one. Fred has gained 50 pounds in the past 5 years. In a week, he will be attending his 5-year high school reunion. He's worried about being teased about his weight. Fred will pray for himself. What should he know and believe?
Forgiveness of
Acceptance.
whoever made fun of him when he was back in high school, that he thinks it's going to happen now all these years later, right? I mean,
Right, that he's fine the way he is, that he's self-acceptance.
but he's worried about being teased about his weight from his high school people, right, at this reunion?
We don't know. He
'cause
says he's gained the 50 pounds in 5 years.
Well, then, if these people, I'm sorry, but if these people don't know him in the last, he's going to a reunion, why would they make fun of him being heavy?
Honey, he's just worried, but he just feels, I don't know.
Would you do me a favor? Call Fred, because
That's
Get
why
Fred.
these scenarios. Let's just say, just forget it.
we're all like spiritually
he feels
drunk
insecure.
tonight.
Amazing conversations. He's good enough just as he is. He is perfect. He is whole. He is complete. Right. Yeah, a lot of booze. Okay.
Well, it doesn't, but what can we, and let's break that one down. It doesn't matter. See, it's more important, it doesn't matter what they think. It matters more about what you think. So I don't, self-love in this moment. It's like, I love myself enough. But now, do you think there's a relationship between the 5 and the 5 years?
Okay, stop. All right. Okay, so, guys, we're going to give you these because I think they'll be helpful. They're treatments and words to use in treatments. So just take
Crazy kids.
one of each. I put one on that side, so make sure you get one of each. There's 2 sheets, all right? One's
Said on
coming this
Sunday, let's not
direction.
think it too
We
seriously.
just thought it would help, so just kind of, there's 2 sheets. You get one from this side and one from that side. All right? And then, let's see, what else? Then the only assignment you have is,
Oh my gosh, we're right on time. It is.
what?
Yeah, there is a lot of words.
What's a
There's-
lot of words?
Readings are a lot of words.
Oh, I know. Well, you don't have that much reading. Look
Okay,
at all
this
you
week.
have.
This will help you.
This will help you.
Techniques for practice.
Okay. I know.
Don't be.
All right,
You guys, stop
you're all
dissing
talking
Ernest
at
Holmes.
once. Stop dissing my man. This is the biggest. Okay,
No.
everybody, we're losing the room here. Okay. You look like a bunch of kids at school. Don't give me anything more to read, please. I can't do my
All that's
homework.
lacking is spit wads right now, and we'd be right at home here.
Okay, let me say something about it.
About what?
Ernest Holmes, I remember when I first started reading him, I felt the same way. Now he's like poetry to me.
Yes, I agree with you.
So you might not want to, what? I pretty soon, because I did
About
it.
13. Okay.
No, I don't have a sheet because there was only 2 assignments. Okay. Chapter 3, chapter 9. But this is what we want you to do. Bring a
Oh,
salient
yes. This
point
is
from
new, guys.
each chapter and your thoughts on it. Be prepared to share it with the class. So find a salient point in each chapter, and we'll all share our salient points next week. Okay?
Do you know what we're talking about?
A salient point is a point.
It's like
that-
salt, but it's
No, it's like a point that was interesting to you. All right?
And so you'll come here and you'll have the quote. Whatever you excerpt from, and then you'll explain why it popped out at you and what you think that this quote means.
Maybe it's applying to
It's
your
kind of like
life.
what we're doing up here with you. You're going to do it next week.
No, you didn't read them yet. Chapter 3, I don't think so. How to use a science. They're all from How to Use
How
the
to use
Science
the
of Mind.
science of mind, not yeah, I can talk to you
Techniques
about
for practice and chapter 9. What did you say?
Oh, Ernest Holmes for Dummies.
Maybe you could write that book.
Well, why don't you talk to Jock? He called himself a dumb
right.
jock.
Does anybody have any further questions? Anybody have any further questions? Okay. All right. So I'll see you all tomorrow night at the Healing Circle, where I'll make sure that I do a healing on how to understand Ernest Holmes.
And just so you'll know, if you didn't plan to come, Fred will be here. 50 pounds less.
Okay.
And Paul, if he'll come.
Okay, everyone. Let's.
Oh, put that back.
Oh. What? That's just for you. All right. So when you're working on your own treatments, you have something to refer to, and then you could. Yeah, there are. There's some really good ones.
I just wanted you to have more.
Okay.
to
Does
read.
everybody have this down so I can go to the closing treatment so we can get out of here? Charles always looks at me like, just shock. He's like, okay. Is everybody good?
6 more days.
All right. I don't want you looking at the assignment while I'm treating. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. I am so grateful. I'm grateful to take all this laughter and this amazing vibration of energy and just focus on it and bring it right here into the heart space, knowing that it is all expression of that amazing divine intelligence that moves and lives and breathes through me and each and every person in here. I am so grateful for the experience we have had tonight and everything that has transpired. I know that great understanding is here, right here, and that discoveries have been made and continue to be made, and that we are practicing this, and we are demonstrating already. And I know that as we go from this place, we just see it more and more in our life. We look out from within, and we embrace what we see, knowing that it is an answer to our prayer. I know the answers are here. Life is unfolding perfectly. We are great. We are the divine presence manifested incarnated as each and every one of us. There is nothing besides that beautiful, amazing energy that we are. We are safe. We are divinely guided, guarded, protected at all times. I am so grateful for all that we have grown into tonight and all that we have expanded into, and I know it just continues. The expansion just continues. We are the people we have been waiting for, and as we walk out into our lives, we exemplify that and we live that. That's what I know and I claim, and I am so grateful for each and every one of us for tonight, for the manifestation of this word that I am speaking, knowing that as we go from here, it is made so. So I just am grateful, and I just take this word that I have spoken, I release it, I let it go as law. I know it is done as we affirm together, and so it is.